Hi guys, welcome back to Touching Concrete. My name is Brooke.
And my name is Layla.
And today we have such a special episode because we have our first guest.
Hi guys, my name's Lauren. I'm a freshman here at NCSU, and my current major is environmental science, but I'm currently trying to switch to business.
Yes, and we brought Lauren in today because she's a part of Studio 804, which is a student-led dance company on campus. So Lauren, can you kind of just talk about how you found out about Studio 804, how long you've been in it, kind of what goes on in Studio 804?
Yeah, so I've been a part of Studio 804 for almost a semester now, and I found out about it through social media and some friends, and it's been so much fun. I loved meeting tons of new people, and yeah, the audition process, you go in, you have to submit a Google form about yourself, your dance experience, what kind of dance you do, and then you go in and they teach you a combination, and then you perform it for them, and that's it.
Wow, so are you performing all that in front of the student
Yes.
who run it?
Yeah, so they basically look at you and see if your dancing style and technique would fit within the range of what they do within their company.
Wow. So what dancing style and technique do you prefer?
I really love like a contemporary ballet modern, very like flowy, technical type of dance.
Nice. And so how long have you been dancing for?
Ooh, I've been dancing since I was 5 years old.
Wow.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a blast. I've tried all different types of dance, hip hop, jazz, ballet, tap, point, and it's been an interesting ride.
And where did you train at before college?
Before college, I trained at Holly Springs School of Dance. It's about 30 minutes away, and it was one of the best experiences that I've ever had.
Yeah.
Guys, fun fact, I also used to dance there when I was a wee little kid. And also fun fact, me and Lauren went to the same high school, but never met until this year.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
Me and Lauren also connect through dance because I grew up competitively dancing. Shout out Justice Elite Dance Company.
Shout
Miss
out.
Jody. And I started dancing when I was 3, so I get the whole it being the best thing because that's where I made all my friends through high school and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
What kind of dance style do you like, Layla?
So contemporary has gotten really popular in recent years. So my studio was also very contemporary focused, very technique focused, but I low-key love some hip hop. Okay.
Whoa.
Also,
Ooh.
go to the Well Rec and take hip hop.
Y'all, we do hip hop classes on
It
Thursdays.
is so much fun.
It's so fun.
It's a good way to get moving if you don't like going to the gym by yourself or you need like a structured class. It's a great option.
Yeah, so fun. So Lauren, you have been dancing for quite some time, since you were 5.
Yeah.
So how have you been able to like take care of yourself with all this like intense dancing throughout your whole life?
It's really not that hard. You just have to make sure you get enough sleep, you drink tons of water, make sure you're eating things that are fuel, so like protein, and just making sure you're keeping up with what you're eating. That way you make it through the week.
But Lauren, can I say that you are genuinely the most productive person I've ever met?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's like insane. Like you are always on top of everything. Like you have a routine. I'm very jealous of you.
Yeah, she the other day told me that she's always the homework she's doing right now is always for the next week, which I just think is crazy. The homework I'm doing is always to do that day.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
today or do today. Have you guys seen that?
I have seen that.
you-
Like DUE today, or if it's DUE today, I'll DO
Yeah.
it today. Yeah, Lauren does not subscribe
She
to that
does
though.
not. I sure do.
No. I get like very overwhelmed if I have a ton of things that are due like right now. So kind of structuring out my week and planning ahead always helps me to be on top of my stuff, making sure my work gets done on time. I have time to go to the gym, go to dance, hang out with my friends, and just be a college student. And so I highly recommend a planner, a Google Calendar, a list. Like it is 100% perfect in every way. I love planning ahead.
How much time does Studio 804 take of your week?
It's 2 hours every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Wow, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah. But it's so much fun. We do rehearsals and we have a showcase at the end of the semester. So
You spend like the whole semester working on one dance, and then at the end you showcase it, or are you doing like a bunch of little dances?
it's like at the end of the semester, they have a showcase of a ton of dances. So usually you'll get cast in like 4-ish pieces. And throughout the semester, you go to rehearsals for each of the 4 pieces. And so then at the end, you showcase however many pieces you were in. But they're all about like 2.5 minutes, 3-ish minutes.
And is the music that it's to, is it like popular songs, or is it like instrumental? Like, what's the vibe for the music?
It kind of depends because Studio 804 is more of a ballet company.
Mm.
But they also do jazz, hip hop, and like other styles as well. But I would say it's a lot more like popular, but also instrumentals and funky songs you've never heard before. And like, I don't know, they just all have this vibe to them, and it's really cool together.
This is
Nice.
kind of a weird question, but do you have to get separate costumes for each of the dances?
Yes, but they also have a costume closet, so you don't have to buy a ton of new things. Like, I don't think I have to buy anything for our showcase this semester.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So the costumes, it's like everybody has to wear the exact same thing, or just like wear white pants and a blue shirt or something like that.
It depends on the choreographer. So for
Okay.
some of the ballet pieces, they have costumes that they use. And then like for one of the pieces I'm in, it's like she wants different colored pants with a black top.
Oh, that's cool.
So it kind of depends on the vibe and what the choreographer wants.
For ballet, sorry, we're like really getting into all these questions because I'm very interested. Do you guys do point, or is it you're on flat?
It depends on the dance. So not everyone has to do point at the company. So some of the dances are on flat and then some of the dances are on point. So even if you've never done point before, you can still be a part of the company and just do flat.
Do you do point?
I used to,
Okay.
but I haven't done it in a while.
So
no.
I always get ballerinas on my FYP on TikTok that they like break in their point shoes like to the extreme. Is that something that you've had to do, or you just like wear them out of the box?
I've never had to do that. That's more like professional, like
Mhm.
principal dancers, because they like need them exactly how they want them,
Okay.
like at that point in time. But it kind of wears them out faster.
Mm-hmm.
So if you break them in, they won't last as long. So I personally don't break mine in, because
makes
it's also
sense.
expensive.
Yeah, these people that I see on my For You page, they're like have to buy new shoes like every week or like every other week or something.
But
Yeah.
also with the professional ballerinas, a lot of the times their dance company gives them the shoes.
Oh,
Like
Yeah.
they have specific shoes made for them.
Yeah.
But
Wow,
if
that's
you
cool.
see ballerinas like slamming their shoe on concrete or something, it's like to make it quieter, or like bending it because
Yeah.
of the shape of their foot, things like
Yeah.
that.
To make it
perfect the
quieter,
shoe.
like
When
when
you're
they hit
running
the
on
sh-
stage, or
Yeah.
if you're
Wow.
doing a leap, so you don't slam on the ground.
so you
Oh,
don't
that's
hear
cool.
the clunk, clunk, clunk of the feet,
Mm,
because it kind of interrupts the music.
right. Wow, that's super cool.
So, Lauren, we have established that you've been dancing for a long time. And with dance comes a lot of emotional, physical, mental challenges. So, if you're comfortable, would you like to dive into that?
Of course. I think dance teaches you so many different things about life, like how to persevere, how to have goals, how to be determined, and time manage. And I think that that's such an important thing for people who are growing up, is because it kind of teaches you all these life lessons that will prepare you for being an adult. So things like audition processes. You go in, you try your hardest, and sometimes you get told no. Sometimes you get told yes, but that's all part of the process. And it teaches you how to keep trying and trying harder, and just like building up this confidence about yourself to be able to go back and try again. And I think that's so important for young adults, because that's a really important thing that you need to learn in life, is you're not always going to get told yes. You're not always going to get the job you want. And I think that is such an important mindset to have, is to just always come back and try harder than you did before.
100%. I will say, dance gave me some tough skin, because a lot of the times you'll walk into an audition and they can cut you in the first 5 seconds because you don't have the color hair they want.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll have like, they're called like cattle calls, where it's just like hundreds of dancers in the same room, and they can go down the line. I don't want you. I don't want you.
Oh my
You can
gosh.
come. I don't want you. So these dance is brutal. Like,
Yeah.
I've had a few teachers that were tough, but I will say it taught me how to have tough skin. It taught me how to stand a little taller, speak a little clearer, and take space, which is weird, but in dance, you know, you're in a room with 200 other people. You have to make space for yourself to dance.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're at a job in the future, you need to take space. You need to establish your ground. So I relate to you on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me just ask a question. When you're saying there's like 200 girls trying out for something, what are they trying out for? Like a specific dance or a company or what?
So I was a convention kid. So you'd have auditions for scholarships, whether that's scholarships for college or scholarships for money off of the next convention. And
So
these,
you have to pay money to go to a convention to perform your dance?
yes. I mean, you have, if you go to a competition, let me establish the difference between a competition and convention.
Please, because I don't know.
Competition is when you're just performing dances. You're getting judged on your dances.
Okay.
Convention is when you're performing your dances like you're at a competition, but then say Saturday and Sunday, you're also taking classes through the whole day. the whole
learning from
weekend.
other choreographers.
Mhm.
Okay. That makes sense.
And through the convention, you can get scholarships.
Yeah.
Scholarships to do what?
Scholarships for like,
The next convention, or
convention.
school, like you said.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. That
Or
makes
programs.
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
Yeah.
That
And
makes sense.
also, when you're auditioning for something, it's also not always about your technique. Sometimes it's how tall you are. Like you said, the color of your hair. It's very like what niche they want on that specific thing of choreography. So it's not really always about, are you a good dancer or are you not? And one of my dance teachers always said you have to separate the milk from the cream, which kind of just means that like you have to put yourself out there and stand out. Like you don't want to be the same cookie cutter. Like put emotion into it. Be who you are, and that is what's going to like project you forward, and that's what's going to let you be seen.
And this is kind of a personal opinion. So, Brooke, you can add on in. I know like me and Lauren are, grew up dancing, but I feel like you could add in on this. The dance industry is very traditional.
Yeah.
The classic, tall, skinny ballerina, that was not me.
That was not me
So,
either.
That's kind of a difficult thing to overcome too, because there are certain industries and niches for dancers who aren't built like a ballerina. But that was kind of tough for me, I know.
Yeah, it does come with its challenges. I will say I did not escape scratch-free on the having confidence issues in the way I look for what other people wanted. And I feel like that's another thing that dance taught me is to just love yourself. You might not look like everybody else. You might not be the perfect ballerina body type, but that doesn't mean you're not as good as everybody else. It just means you either need to work a little bit harder, or it just means you just need to love who you are. And I feel like that was such a tough lesson for me to learn. And it wasn't really something I learned until I graduated, that you just need to be who you are, love yourself. And my sister does dance, and I feel like that's something I'm trying to teach her as well, is you're not going to look like all those other principal ballerina dancers, and that's okay.
Yeah,
So-
definitely. And I also see like y'all's point, because as you were saying before, like they can just cut you out because of your hair color, like you guys were saying. So I can see how that would like impact you a lot.
100%.
Yeah, because my sport of choice was volleyball, and it definitely has that like a similar vibe of if you don't fit like into a certain position, like if you're playing front row like middle, you're normally really tall, and if you're playing back row like libero, you're like short and stout. And I don't really fit into either of those categories, so it was like, what am I gonna play? But it's definitely not the same level as dance. So
That's
Yeah.
very true, though. I've never even thought that way, but that is true about the volleyball position.
mhm.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
all sports in their own way have that.
Yeah.
They need the specific body type. Like for gymnastics, it's mainly shorter people.
Mm-hmm.
I tried gymnastics. I was a very tall gal. It did not work out for me. Um, Yeah, and I feel like it's a tough lesson to learn, but it does make you a better person in the end.
Yeah, that's true. Sports are important for everybody. I think all kids should do them.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And also because it builds community, you make friends and everything. So
course.
have you been able to like build a community with your dance studio here at NC State?
Yeah, I've met tons of new people, and going to dance at NC State, it was a way for me to find another community of people that are like me and love dancing, and it's just been an amazing experience so far.
Nice.
That's good. Community is important. We preach it all the time.
Yeah, love community.
Yeah.
So do you think like this dance company, you're going to stay with them for all 4 years, or is it a thing where you like can like float around to different teams?
No, I 100% think I'll stay at Studio 804 for the entirety of my 4 years because it's just such a fun way to be able to express yourself in a way where you don't think everybody's judging you because your toes aren't pointed the right way or your knees were bent for this one thing. And I don't know, that's what I love about it. And that's something that just makes me want to go back every week is I feel welcome. I feel loved for the way that I dance. And that is something that's really, really important to me.
Yeah.
Is
that's
that
awesome.
kind of what drew you to Studio 804? Because I know there's a good handful of other dance organizations.
Yes, I followed their social media for a while, and it was just very much the vibe, I guess you could say, of the studio that I wanted. I liked the way they interacted. I went to a couple of their showcases, and it was exactly what I was looking for in a dance community.
So within this dance studio, are there opportunities for you to like choreograph and stuff? Because I know you've told me before you go home to your home studio and like teach classes and stuff and choreograph dances. So is there like opportunities for that?
Of course, yeah. All of the choreography for our showcases at the end of the semester are student choreographed. So they're like all of my choreographers for the dances I'm in are students within our company.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so if I wanted next semester, I could apply to choreograph or something.
What do you have to do to apply?
In order to apply to choreograph, from what I've been told, it's like a Google form. You have to put in your dance idea, the genre of dance, the song, how many people you want, and it just is to get a general understanding of what your dance is going to be about. So it's not anything like too overly complicated, but it is definitely something you have to sit down and do.
Yeah. Is it like really competitive, like everybody wants to choreograph, or is it more like chill?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I think if you want to choreograph, I think it's something that they're most of the time able to make happen. And if you can't choreograph that semester, you can always try and apply to choreograph the next semester too.
Okay.
That's really cool.
So do you like to choreograph in the same style of dance that you dance? Like contemporary, flowy, or do you like to choreograph something else?
For me, the way I start to choreograph is if I hear like a song on the radio or I'm taking a dance class and it's like a warm-up song and I just hear it and it like makes me want to choreograph and move. And I feel like that's really important in the choreography process is to find something that like you're passionate about. So for a dance that I'm choreographing next year, I have been listening to the song for a while, and when you choreograph a dance, I find that it always has like a flavor of the choreographer. So like each choreographer dances a little bit differently, which I feel like is really important in dance. It like makes it interesting. It gives it flavor.
Yeah.
And that is something that I find really important when I choreograph is to make it like how I like to dance, because students are going to be able to understand what you're teaching better if you're really passionate about it.
For sure.
And it's also going to show through your choreography if you love what you're choreographing and if you love that style of dance. So for me, I love to choreograph like flowy or sharp dances. And it's like very dynamic because that's
Okay.
just how I like to dance.
Yeah.
But other people like to dance more staccato, or it depends on the choreographer.
What is staccato? Sorry.
Staccato is kind of like, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's very like sharp and like, it's like the best way I can describe it is if you're walking down the stairs and it's like you hit the stair and it kind of has like a rebound,
Okay.
and it's like, I don't know, it's just very like sharp and isn't really flowy.
It's like
Okay.
a quick, sharp
Yeah.
pattern of
And it
beat.
has that like
Okay.
like I don't know, you just kind of like it's like getting
Like, you hit
whiplash
it,
almost.
like, you're
yeah.
just like-
You hit it.
Bam.
Yeah. And it's really cool to watch. Like I
Yeah.
saw this dance on World of Dance that was very staccato, and if you do it right, it looks really amazing.
Yeah.
Are you a dancer who learns by lyrics or by counts?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like it depends on the song.
Mm.
So some songs are really, really hard to count. Like I did this choreography to this Beyonce song, and it was all words. I could not count that song to save my life. But usually I'm a words girl because I count most of the song, but every once in a while I'll be focusing more on the choreography and less on the counts, and I'll be going based off of what other people are doing. And so listening to the words is a really easy way to do that because you're less worried about what count are you on. And if you're counting in the right count, so an 8 count, a 6 count, like it just makes it, for me, it makes it a lot easier to count based on the words.
That makes sense. I think, like, when I was doing dance when I was a kid, I always wanted to, like, do a move that the lyrics were saying. Like, if they were saying, like, we're partying, I wanted to, like, dance like I was partying. But
Yeah.
my choreographers always wanted to, like, have it on the beat. And
Mhm.
it made me frustrated because I wanted to, like, do what the song was saying.
Yeah.
Like, if the song was saying the person is walking, I wanted to walk. Or if they're drinking, I wanted to, like, do a hand motion that I was drinking, like, stuff like that. And my choreographers never wanted that. So I always thought that all dance, like, you couldn't do the lyrics. But
Mm.
so it's cool to
Really?
hear that. Yeah. I just always thought that.
It definitely depends on the choreographer. Some choreographers like counts make it really easy to make sure everybody's on the same beat. They hit the same pose, they hit the same like arm movement. It makes it a lot easier to like clean. But for me, I love a good lyric.
I would agree with that. I'm a lyric girl too.
Yeah.
So do you guys know who Molly Long is?
Yo.
Do you, Lauren?
No.
She's a choreographer in the dance world.
Mhm.
And she has this, like, she's, like, going super viral right now on TikTok.
Yeah.
And she has this one dance to the song Pop Music, and it's just, like, really satisfying. And maybe, Layla, do you know if that's lyric or if that's on account?
Knowing what I know about Molly Long, I feel like it would be counts.
Really?
And we can just kind of detour for a second. Molly Long has been around for a long time, and she's had a lot of viral videos. Like, if you guys remember My Boyfriend's Back, it was a trio, and they
I
had,
do
like,
remember that.
orange, yellow, and blue two-piece sets.
Yes.
A lot of her dances are kind of controversial because a lot of people think that they aren't age appropriate for the kids performing in the dance. So on my FYP, a lot of people have been critiquing the pop music dance because it's younger-ish girls. They're probably like,
I thought they were, like, high schoolers.
I was going to say that too, just because they're in leotards and, you know, some people find that promiscuous.
But isn't all dance in leotards?
No.
Not. I mean, it depends on the...
It depends on the dance.
Yeah.
Really? So
But-
what else would you wear if not a leotard?
I mean, it could be like pants and a top.
Yeah.
Like ballet, though, you wear a leotard.
Oh.
Ballet, it's like leotard and tutu. But even for some of my ballet dances, it hasn't always been a Leo.
Same.
Like I've had this one really funky dance that I really liked to, I think it was this Beach Boys song. And we
That's
had
cool.
these, like this jumper on, and we had these swim caps, and we were like synchronized swimmers.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm.
And then I've had this really flowy dress one time, and we did to this like Star Wars song, and we were like the
Whoa.
dunes in the Star Wars song. So it kind of just depends on what the choreographer's vision is and what
Yeah.
you wear. So I did this dance one time, and we had these like really baggy like parachute pants, and they were like
Mm.
bright orange.
That's cool.
Circling back to the Molly
To the Molly
Long.
Long, leotard's controversial.
I don't really have an opinion on it, but I see both point of views of it. But yes, Molly Long is going viral on TikTok right now. She is very creative.
Yeah. I like the pop music dance. I think it's so satisfying to watch because of just how they're all moving like together and like
Mhm.
they're all in like a V shape, and like
Yeah.
if one of them going up, the next two are going down. And I just like that like look.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that she is a great choreographer, but I don't know about her controversies. I don't know about her controversies. Not really in that world, but I've just seen the pop music dance.
One last thing about that, it's kind of crazy to think that those dancers are so good at the age they are right now. Like, I can't imagine what they'll be like in 5 years.
They're probably going to be like
Yeah.
professionals, like the Rockettes.
Yeah.
That's the professional dancers in New York, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Well, they
maybe
also
they'll be
have
those.
like the Alvin Ailey Dance Company, and like they have all these other companies too. But the Rockettes are really cool.
Yeah. So Brooke kind of brought up a popular choreographer. Is there any choreographers that inspire you or have inspired you?
Not really choreographers, but I personally really love Misty Copeland. I did one of these like master classes, like online master classes by her during COVID. And she's just such an inspiration to me because she started later in the game. I think she was like 13. And she is now like a principal ballerina. And that's just so inspirational to me because usually when you start dance, in order to get to the level she is, you have to start when you're like 3 years old. And she had that goal. She had that determination. And it kind of just reinforced all the things people were telling me about dance. And she is like my biggest inspiration.
Is she still
Mm.
dancing or did she retire?
No, she's still dancing.
Wow. That's crazy.
So do you picture yourself like dancing like for the rest of your life?
Not professionally or in any way like that, but I might take a class here and there, like at a
Yeah,
studio. Like
just
I
for
take
fun.
it at the Wellness and Rec Center,
Right.
the hip hop class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw on TikTok, of course, these like 30-year-olds were taking a intro to gymnastics class and they were just like doing like the most basic gymnastics things. And I thought it was really cute because they were just like interested in it and they wanted to try it.
Yeah.
So
And you can start
Yeah.
at any age.
yeah.
Of course. Yeah. You're always learning. It might be a little bit harder to bend certain ways in dance when you're older.
Of course.
But I think any age. I see people on TikTok all the time, like starting ballet and point, like when they're 20, 30 years old. Like they've
Mhm.
obviously had the technique and had the classes.
Yeah.
But I think it's really inspirational to me because you don't
Yeah.
have to be doing something for 10 years to be good at it.
Right.
Do you have any advice for students that are thinking of joining a dance organization but maybe a little worried that they're not experienced enough or they don't have all the skills that they need?
I think always just do what your heart tells you to do. Try out. If the worst they can do is say no. And I think that's an amazing thing about it is you can always try again. It's not a once and done kind of thing. So go. Try it. And if you don't get in, take a dance class that semester or something. Like improve, do a technique. Like there are tons of free classes offered at NC State. And it's such an amazing resource. So if you don't get in, try next year. Take a ballet class, take a jazz class, take a modern class. Because they do offer semester classes that you can just go and pop in a class at the Wellness and Rec Center.
Right. And those are the ones that we like to do.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Super fun.
If you join, you could see us.
Woo.
Yeah.
Love cardio dance. Love that hip hop class we always go to.
Yes.
There are so many
Hip-hop.
fun ones.
High heels and hip hop. I think that's what it's called.
I think. I always get it confused.
Something with hip hop and high heels.
Not telling you guys should do it, but just informing you. on
Highly
it.
recommend.
You should do it. And if you want to. The reason it's called that is because you can wear your high heels if you want to.
Of course.
The instructor does wear high heel dance shoes.
And it's like a no judgment zone because
literally.
a lot of
Judgment-free.
the judgment free because a lot of the instructors, if not all, are NC State students.
Yeah, I think most to all of them are NC State students.
Yeah.
And you're taking the class with other NC State students, so it's just a really good community.
Yeah.
Build
Right.
your community.
Yeah.
And not everyone there has been taking dance forever. Like I've met people in there who have never taken a dance class before.
Yeah.
And it's very refreshing
Yeah.
because it like allows you to meet new people and learn new things. Like I took this body pump class last semester and it was so much fun and it taught me so many things. Like I would leave that class like a limp noodle, but I would come back stronger the next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like you just persevere, man.
Yeah. And touching on how not everybody in those classes have done dance. I haven't done dance since I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and I go and I love it. And I'm not good, but it's still fun, and that's what matters. And it's a good workout.
Yeah, it's a great workout. It
Yeah.
keeps you moving. It's good for your mental well-being.
And
physical.
that's true of like all of the classes at Carmichael, because like not even the dance ones. Like me and Layla went to a cycling class. I've never cycled a day in my life.
Oh my gosh. I thought I was going to have to leave.
It was intense.
It was a lot. 30-minute hit for our first cycling class ever, by the way.
Yeah, but it's just something good to try. Now we know maybe it's not our cup of tea, but we would have never known if we didn't try.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge advocate or lover of the classes, the gym classes, the group workout classes at Carmichael.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love them.
It allows you to take a break from studying.
Exactly.
Right now, I take a rock climbing PE as one of my GEPs, and it is one of my favorite classes I'm taking this semester. Last semester, I took cycling. And it's such an amazing just class to be able to take, to get off my phone, like do something that isn't so school-based. Like you still
Right.
have work and you still have grades that you're doing, but it does allow you to like be forced to take a break from your computer, your phone, sleeping, whatever it may be. And next semester, I really want to take target archery.
Wow.
Okay. I
Yeah.
almost took archery this semester, but then I took racquetball instead. And I agree with your point of like having the PE classes. I really like them because you can just relax for a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially I'm taking my racquetball class pass fail, so I'm like not worried about my grade for it. So I can just like have fun and make mistakes without worrying about my technique and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Does Studio 804 practice in Carmichael?
Yes. Depending on the day, we will practice in different studios in Carmichael. So I'm pretty sure one of the ones we practice in is 1209. One of the ones we sometimes use, I think it's 1309 or 1304. Anyway, but it depends on what the availability is because there are so many different clubs and student organizations at NCSU that require space in Carmichael. There are certain limits to the amount of time and space you get to use in Carmichael. But it's really nice to be able to practice in there and you don't have to like go find somewhere like a field or something to practice in.
Yeah. So back to you being in this dance company, you practice 3 times a week for 2 hours each, right?
Yes.
How much of, obviously that's 6 hours, but like if you had to miss a class, is that the end of the world? Is it mandatory, or like how much of a commitment is it?
I mean, I would say it's a big commitment, but if you have a project or an exam or you have an appointment or a meeting during the hour that you have class, it's not the end of the world. They'll send you the recording of what they did, you learn it, you show up the next week, and you just pop right in. It's very lenient.
Yeah.
You shouldn't take advantage of their leniency.
Right. So they record all the classes, or they only record if they know that somebody's absent.
All choreographers record what they added onto their dance, and it goes into the shared folder. That way you can review before your next class. If you weren't there, you can learn it. It's just a helpful resource to be able to make sure that when you're there that next week, you're not having to spend tons of time relearning the old choreography,
Right.
and you can move on to the new choreography.
Is it recorded on Panapto like normal classes, or is it on something else?
No, they just like record it with their cell phone.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because what I was getting at there is I wondered if in those like dance classrooms in Carmichael, if there's the cameras like are in normal classrooms like throughout campus
There
for
are.
Panapto, but there is.
Yeah, there are. Sometimes you can like have the camera and they have these TVs so you can see yourself dancing on the TV.
TVs.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's in, I don't know the studio name, but it's downstairs in Old Carmichael, and it's like one of the older studios, and they had this TV, and you can like watch yourself dancing on it if the teacher turns on the camera.
That's
It's
kinda
actually
cool.
really cool.
So what's the benefit of like looking into the TV rather than just looking in the mirror?
That's a great question. I'm honestly not really sure the answer to that question.
Mm.
I actually find the TV kind of distracting.
Yeah, I
Because
feel like
then
that would be
I'm
me too.
More busy looking at how I look in the video
Yeah.
and less
right.
busy on the choreography, which is also another reason why, in my opinion, sometimes the mirrors aren't always great
Never.
because then I'm too busy looking at myself in the mirror, making sure I look decent.
Yeah.
I don't like my hair isn't out of place. And then
Yeah.
also sometimes I feel like having the mirror makes you focus a lot more on yourself and less on the choreography. So at my studio, before our showcases, they would put black paper over the mirrors
Yep.
to make sure you knew your dance, you knew the timing, you knew your spacing, and it was just kind of like a reassurance to make sure you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really important, and sometimes I feel like the mirror can take that away.
I
Yeah.
agree. I will say, staring at myself in a mirror in a leotard for a good 15 years does something crazy to my psyche. But
Wow.
we would just like face the back, so we
did that
didn't
too.
look
Oh,
at the
that's smart.
mirror.
Yeah.
But I agree. I would be very invested in the TV and the mirror rather than the instructor.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sometimes that mirror just really gets to you sometimes.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, I don't like the way I look today. And sometimes that's not really a great mindset to have about yourself.
Right.
But then again, it also teaches you need to be confident in yourself, love yourself. You're amazing. You're at least here. You're not at home being a couch potato. Like you put in the
Putting
effort
in the
to
effort,
be
yeah.
here. Like that does stand for something.
Yeah. I get what you guys are saying about the mirror. I'm not a lifelong dancer, but I go to yoga sometimes at Carmichael. And if I'm in the front of the room, like the last class I went to, I was in the front of the room, kept on adjusting my shorts, adjusting my shirt, fixing my hair every 2 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
can I catch a break? But normally in yoga, I go to the back of the room, so it's not a problem, but I was in the front. So I get what you're saying, even though I'm not a lifelong dancer.
Yeah.
So yeah. Is there anything else you want to add about your studio, about your experience with dance, about community, about NC State?
I think dance in general, not just both of the companies that I've participated in, just kind of teaches you how to be a good person, how to meet new people, how to go into situations that make you feel uncomfortable, go outside of your comfort zone, stepping out of that box of saying, okay, this is what I know and this is what I like to do. Now I have to go audition for a dance company I've never auditioned for before with nobody that I know. And it kind of just allows you to learn new things. And it also, dance is such a broad, like, it's almost its own world of people. There are so many people to meet. There are so many amazing choreographers. And it's just its own little community. And I feel like that was such an important thing that I was a part of when I was little, because it gave me something that, like, it was like a home away from home. It was like I could go to the dance studio, and if I was angry, if I was stressed, if I was upset, like, that was the place I could go where I knew I had friends. I could just, like, work through my frustrations, and it allows you to express yourself in a way I feel like not a lot of other sports do.
Yeah.
And it was just a very, very amazing outlet for me to express my feelings, my concerns, and just who I am as a person in a way that people aren't going to judge me for.
Yeah.
So I think dance is really important. I mean, obviously not everybody's going to be this, like, star ballerina, but I also feel like that's something that you can acknowledge and learn from. Is you're not always going to be amazing at what you try. I was not naturally gifted at dance in any way. I had to work hard for what I have. And I feel like that's also something that I learned from that.
Yeah.
I could not agree more. Like, for me and for you, I'm speaking for the both of us, dance really wasn't about the awards or the trophies or
No.
the accolades you can get. It really builds you up as a person. And like you have said, it makes you a good person.
Yeah.
And even in my daily life, I can kind of just walk around campus, wherever, and I feel like I just spot people who I know are dancers just by the way they move and the way they hold themselves. So dance really does expand further into your life, even if you stopped doing it when you graduated or when you were younger.
Yeah, it allows you to carry yourself in a certain way. Now, I will say, getting scholarships and stuff is pretty great, and it makes you feel like what you're working hard for, like you've actually accomplished something.
Yeah.
But it is also not what dance is about. Dance is about learning new things, how to learn things really fast and maintain the memory. Like, it works a different part of your brain than studying for a chem test, studying for a vocab quiz, learning, I don't know, other things. Like, I did volleyball and horseback riding, and I feel like dance, it's a different part of your brain that it uses than some of those other sports. And I don't know, I'm kind of grateful for it. My mom took an adult hip hop class one year, and she came back and she told me she had a greater respect for the craft. She was like, first, that's not for me. And second, I don't know how you remember all that choreography. Because sometimes you're learning like a minute and a half of choreography in 15 minutes. And it just, I don't know. I think it's really cool and really important to be able to do that. Like, obviously, you're not going to need that for if you go take like a accounting job at some firm. But I don't know. I
You'll
really
always
enjoy
carry
it.
it with you, and like the lessons that you've been talking about, you'll
Right.
carry that with you for life. So
That's
Right.
quite literally what I wrote my college essay on.
I
Like,
also
ended
wrote
it-
mine on dance.
I ended it with, although I will not continue dance, I'm grateful for the lessons it taught me and the friends that it brought me.
that's
Yeah.
sweet.
I also wrote mine on dance. Mine was more about how the challenges that I faced and how I overcame them. So, like, at my old studio, we had a dance company, and you had to audition for said dance company, like most dance companies. And it took me a couple times to get in, but as I said earlier, it teaches you this aspect of, is that really what you want to do? Is that a goal you want to have? And then how can you reach that goal? And that was kind of what my college essay was about, is how it changed me as a person. Made me a
Teaches
better
you to
person.
be humble.
Ooh, it also humbles you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Lauren, we normally like to close out our episodes with the thorn and rose. So would you like to do that?
Yeah. I'll start with my thorn.
Okay.
My thorn for the past like week and a half was I fell down some concrete stairs. And
What's the story there?
so outside of the white tunnel under the train tracks, there's these concrete stairs, and
Love
it was
'em.
during Shackathon week, and I was running late to one of my classes, and I was, rushing to get there, and I tripped and I fell down the stairs. And I feel like it taught me something. I did not think so in the moment, but it kind of teaches you how to pick yourself back up even when you humiliate yourself.
Wow.
I think my ego, and I think it was bruised a lot more than me physically.
Yeah.
Did I cut up my knees and was I bleeding on my way to class? Yes, I was. Did I pull something in my knee? Yes, I did.
But is it a good story?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I can tell you that those tour guides saw me. They looked at me and they looked mildly concerned as they were walking by. I feel like it was a very good entrance into NC State. If you haven't fallen yet at NC State, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll say
Yeah.
I've never fallen down those stairs.
I've done it. It was
ooh,
raining last year.
Shoot.
I slipped.
Kerplunk.
Ego was bruised a little bit.
Yeah. But, yeah.
How about
And-
your rose?
Ooh, my rose. I thankfully don't have a ton of assignments left, so I can kind of focus on studying for my last class exams, then my finals. And guys, we only have 3.5 weeks left of school, and then it's summer. And that is my rose, is being out of school.
You saying 3.5 more weeks until summer made me think of that scene in High School Musical when they're like counting down the clock and then it's summer and then they burst into song.
Yeah.
Summer. Yeah, that's what it made me think of.
Brooke, do you want to do your thorn and rose next?
Absolutely. So my thorn is that I had a thermodynamics exam this past week and it went horribly. I've been doing pretty well in all my exams so far this semester. I haven't failed any. Like I've been doing pretty well. And this exam really humbled me. Like I didn't know it. I didn't know the material that well and it was just really hard. So I'm hoping that when my grade comes back, it's not as bad as I think. So,
Yeah.
but that's my thorn. My rose is that that was my last exam for that was my last midterm for the semester. So now I only have to focus on my finals and my like assignments and stuff. But yeah. Layla?
My thorn, I kind of have a few, but they all tied together.
Okay.
I had an exam this morning. I think it went well, but on my way back, I was on my phone, like I am, and tripped and almost ate it. And
Speaking of falling.
I had to put my phone down and turn the music off.
Yeah.
Also, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed with all the stuff that I have to do because I have like 3 more exams. I have one next week. I had one today. And then I have finals. So I'm a little overwhelmed, but it will all be okay.
Yeah.
And then my rose, tonight we're taking a self-defense class.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. And then Me, including Lauren and Brooke, and a few of our other friends are going to watch Wicked.
No one mourns the wicked. Me and Layla have been loving to
Shoot.
harmonize with that song. I love that song. I think it was so like well done, and it gives me chills literally every single time.
I cannot wait for part 2.
Part 1 was literally phenomenal. The costume design, the set design, the music, the actresses, everything perfect.
Part 2 will
10 out of
change my
freaking 10.
life.
Yeah, it will.
For good will change my life.
Yeah, same.
I'm really excited to watch it, guys.
This is gonna. That's
Oh yeah,
You've never
Lauren's
seen it before?
seen it.
I saw the Broadway show.
okay.
That counts.
That does count.
Yeah.
But this is like, it's 2.5 hours and it's only act 1. So there's so much more that you don't even know.
This is true. I saw the second half of the movie. I missed the first half.
I can't
But-
wait
Oh.
till part 2 comes out, and then I can just watch it all the way through.
Same.
Right.
I want theaters to do like a continuous screening.
We
Oh,
have
that'd be so much
intermission.
fun.
Are they doing that? Is that a thing?
I bet they will.
I hope they do.
I bet they will.
Yeah.
Well, with that, if no one else has to add anything, I think that's it for this episode.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the flip.
Bye,
Yeah,
guys.
It was so much fun talking.
Music in this episode is from Loopmaster's Hip Hop and R&B Breaks.